So we mentioned Hato briefly yesterday, and apparently Miko has come out and said some stuff. And Miko is my Hololive Oshi, so this makes me feel kind of sad. She posted a tweet where she said, to everyone cheering me on and to those spreading slander, this is not a scary announcement. I'm glad she said that. I'm glad she said it's not a scary announcement. So over here, I asked Agrokathy to translate the article into English, and it says, Sakura Miko addresses attacks using Akai Hato and false internal leaks. Strongly requests cessation of slander. Article can be read in about 3 minutes. Hololive 0th generation. 0th. Sakura Miko addressed long-standing slander and speculation in her stream on October 31st, 2025. She explained that the background involves aggressive behavior using Akai Hato, Hachima's hiatus. She strongly urged to stop malicious speculation and attacks. About an hour before the stream, Hololive's official announcement revealed Akai Hato hiatus. In response to the commotion, she decided to speak out again against behaviors that use the fact of the hiatus to create speculation or attack others. Although she usually avoids touching on such issues with the intention of delivering fun streams, this time she judged that it would be better to speak out once rather than endure and continue fun streams. And after obtaining permission from management, she conducted the stream and explained the circumstances. At the beginning, she stated that malicious clips are not allowed, and while clipping itself is possible, she requests edits that convey the intent properly, management of comments, and deletion of malicious comments. Addressing the attacks using Hato's hiatus and false internal leaks, currently it seems that speculation and attacks are being carried out using Hachima, who announced her hiatus. Things that the person herself has not stated are being spread as if they were fact. Not only this incident, but Sakura Miko herself has been suffering from baseless slander and false internal leak information for many years, she confessed. Although she has requested management to handle it, she apologized for the situation where she cannot yet deliver content that reassures listeners. And I think this is really good that she was able to do something with like actually management on board. Because it would be really bad if she had come out and said something and then management got upset about it and she also had some sort of hiatus. And I know when management in a company is going to be involved, like they're never going to give you the full picture. But I still think saying something like this is better than letting speculation go on forever and having all of the talents be like just completely silent all of the time, you know? During the stream, Sakura Miko strongly appealed again, please stop the slander. She revealed that especially in the past 2 years, it had been days of excessively severe defamation. Feeling that nothing will change just by enduring in the situation where even Hachima's decision to go on hiatus is being used to attack others, she decided to speak out. And this is where, like, being super vague about things can be damaging to everyone involved. Because, like, you want to be vague enough to protect the talent who's deciding to go on hiatus. But once people are just like, oh, they're going on hiatus because, you know, so-and-so had been saying things about them, or their genmate had been doing these things behind the scenes, right? Like, that kind of speculation can sometimes get really fucking out of hand, and it'll just make things worse for everyone. Sakura Miko urged viewers not to engage in behaviors that hurt people with false information or unverified speculation. She also warned about malicious spreading and attacks disguised as listeners. And this happens very frequently, and I mean, you guys in my audience are especially primed for this shit, because so often someone will just be like, oh, I used to be a fan of Kirsche, but then she started getting political, or they would say something that like immediately outs them as someone who legitimately never watched me. You know, and so like there are bound to be people, because Hololive is massive. There are bound to be people who do the exact same thing to the Hololive talents in an effort to make them feel bad.
Oh no! The tourists are here!
Insult tourists? Yeah, exactly. They feel like if they say I used to be a fan, it gives them more credence to what they're saying. And because, you know, most people reading it aren't going to know one way or another. And even sometimes if like the talent reads it, they might feel like, oh, I've let, you know, people like this down. I've let parts of my audience down. But I think what a lot of creators have to learn, if they haven't already, and again, I'm sure the Hololive talents know this very well because of how long they've been around, that a lot of people who start off with the I used to be a fan or I used to watch this content, what they say after that usually outs them as someone who actually was not a fan and did not consume the content. Hato's always had people talking a bunch of shit about her, and it got notably worse after she talked about the shit she experienced while in Australia for school. I just don't, I guess, really understand it. I mean, you can dislike the content somebody does, but the Hololive girls are pretty incredibly inoffensive in all regards. So I just thinking of like the kind of person who would go and harass someone like Hachima or like Miko. It is incomprehensible to me, you know? Amid spreading speculation, Sakura Miko conveyed her feelings toward Hachima, saying, "I still love her forever from now on." She stated that the songs she created are treasures and repeatedly appealed to stop behaviors that use Hachima, who's likely suffering the most right now. As an individual, Sakura Miko indicated her intention to continue addressing malicious matters in the future. She declared that she will turn the support from listeners into strength, not lose to malice, and strive for fun streaming activities in her own way. In response to Sakura Miko's stream, many voices supporting her have risen, such as "I was moved by her resolute attitude" and "courageous statement." Many listeners also posted comments wishing for Hachima's peace of mind. There are voices pointing out the possibility that bots or AI are involved in spreading malicious information. You know, I wouldn't doubt it. Whether they're AI, like artificial intelligence, or AI actually Indian, I would not be surprised. And movements among listeners calling to report without reacting to slander. To everyone who supports me and to those who are slandering, watch this video on YouTube. This is by Yura. I don't know how good his subs are, but this is who we're going to use because I can't understand Japanese. Gozaimasu.
本日はこちらです。応援してくれてる皆さんと誹謗中傷をしている人たちへ。まず悪質な切り抜き。これは NG です。やめてください。悪質だなと思ったらちゃんと報告もします。そして切り抜き。
I think that could be pretty helpful. Like if people were reporting the malicious clips. I come from obviously the West, and so we have this like huge thing of if people put out slanderous information, reporting it makes you look more guilty, so you have to refute the slanderous information instead. It's just that things work differently in Japan, so I can understand that being a better thing to do in this case.
ここはあえて大丈夫。だけど、意図が伝わるようにね、編集をお願いしたいのと、あとコメント欄の管理っていうものをね、悪質なコメントとかは、あとはめちゃくちゃね、バチボコに喧嘩してるとかね、対応もぜひよろしくお願いします。注意事項をしましたけど、まず最初
I think that kind of also makes sense, but like, again, from my point of view, I don't moderate, I guess, comments too much on videos, because like, I don't know. Like if someone is posting something like crazy malicious, like, yeah, we're getting rid of it. But I don't know. That's, again, probably more Western brained ideal in that regard.
に言うと、ミコ日本語が下手です。日本人なんですけど、ちゃんとね。
She just like me, for real, for real?
と思って、一応文章にはしているので、ミコちゃんがいつもよりも頭のいい言葉を使っているなとかね、思うと思うんですけど、しっかりと伝えたいという意図があるので、笑わないで聞いてもらえると嬉しいですね。まずですね、1時間ぐらい前かな、公式でね、お知らせがあった通り、赤いハート、はーちゃまって呼びますけど、が、お休みに入りました。知らない人もいるかなと思うんですけれども、ごめんですけど、詳しくはね、公式のね、リリースというか、プレスっていうんですか、あれ、見てほしいなと。で、この騒動に伴って、それを
And I saw some like tweets about the Hachima situation where like people were kind of making fun of her for having like the breakdown that she did on stream, and I think that's kind of fucked up. Like regardless of, I guess, how you feel about somebody, if I saw somebody I genuinely disliked having like a mental breakdown on stream, I would still feel kind of bad because I know the pressure of being in public and I know what that kind of thing can do to someone's mental. So when you snap to the point of having that kind of a breakdown in a live environment, something has gone severely fucking wrong, you know? And so like seeing people, and especially someone as like inoffensive as Hachima, seeing people wanting to make light of the situation, I guess, makes me kind of feel bad. You know, it's a little weird. Sadly, Hachima has had some shitty family times that didn't help with her mental health. Oh, fucking, I know how that is, man. There's nothing funny about mental health issues, in your opinion. It was very weird to have somebody who quite literally made a tweet cheering on the fact that I was struggling mentally a couple of months ago, gloating about the fact that it was because of them that I was suffering mentally and that they hoped that that suffering continued. Now trying to change the narrative and be like, oh, you shouldn't insult Hachima. It's like, well, yeah, you shouldn't. But also, you are the last fucking person to take the moral high ground on this issue, you genuine piece of shit.
利用する形でですね、憶測を立てたりとか、攻撃をされているということに関して、お話を改めてね、させてほしいなと思います。緊張するなぁ。今日までですね、ずっと表に出さずに活動をしてきました。まあ、時々ね、何かへこたれたりとか。
Which is very normal, unfortunately. Like whenever there's some sort of, hiatus or an internal controversy or just anything going on with the company, most of the time the talents are instructed to not speak about it because, they're not usually briefed in PR and you kind of have to be really careful about what you say in a lot of these situations. And it can be really hard to get on stream and pretend like everything's okay when there are things that are severely bothering you or things that you'd like to correct the record on or things that you'd like to be more honest about that you can't be. And it takes an immense mental toll to come on stream and compartmentalize everything to the point where you can just kind of leave it in a box in the corner of your mind and pretend like everything is normal and fine. It can get very difficult to do sometimes. So I very much understand what she's saying here. I'm not in a corpo, but I have friends and I have respect for people that I work with. And so even though I am indie, I don't just like throw caution to the wind. I still practice a similar vibe to that.
そういうこともあったかもしれませんけれども、極力みんなには楽しい配信を届けよう。こういうことは一切触れずに活動するのが一番いい。それがベストだなと思ってます。今も思ってます。
And I'm glad she did. I'm very glad she did.
としては、楽しさとか面白さっていうところを届けて、誹謗中傷というものに対して戦おうと思っていました。なんですけれども、今日ここまで我慢してきましたね。なんですが、今回の件は我慢して楽しい配信をしてやっていこうってするよりも、一度こうして改めて発言をした方がいいかなと思いまして、運営さんにも許可をもらった上で話してます。ちょっとね、この中でやっぱり触れるなって思う人もね、いると思うんですけれども。
Yeah, there are a weird contingent of fans in a lot of fan bases where they're just like, I don't want my anime woman to address anything going on. I just want her to shut up and be cute. And it's like, yeah, sure, that's a cute woman doing cute thing is wonderful, but they're still people and they feel the full range of emotions like all people should, And so it's really weird when people get like angry when people like content creators will put out like clarifications or asks in this regard. It's very weird.
あえて触れさせてほしいなと思ってます。そういうタイミングかなと思ってます。で、まずこれ、桜美子のことを話していきます。主に。まず、この5年間、どのぐらいかちょっとわかりませんけど、長い間、ずっとね、根拠のない誹謗中傷をね、受けてきました。あとは、これに対してをずっと言及してなかったんですけれども、その社内のリークの姿をした虚偽の内容っていうのも出てきていて、それも悪質なやり方で事実のようにして SNS を通して現在も誹謗中傷やね、攻撃を受けている状況です。恐ろしいですね。
Very scary. And I mean, she said she was fighting things behind the scenes. And I know Japan has pretty strict slander laws. Like, it's way easier to take someone to court for slander in Japan than it is in the US. So hopefully when she says she's fighting behind the scenes, that's exactly what she means.
正直こういう発言もね、ちょっとね、もう手が震えています。手が震えている。なんですけれども、そのことに関しては対応をね、お願いしていますが、みんなに安心してもらえる内容はね、今のところまだ届けられない状況になってます。現在までね、この件について運営さんからも、みんなへの発信がないまま、不安を抱かせてしまって本当に申し訳ないと思いますし、ミコもこれまで我慢を続けてきたんですけれども、今回の件については、もう我慢はできませんと、伝えて、今話させて もらっています。今回のね、件は、はーちゃまの件とか、それだけではなくて、何かがね、話題になるたびに、そのリーク情報を利用した嵐行為とか、誹謗中傷を受けている状況です。はーちゃまのね、発言にないようなことまで、今回事実のように広められている状況です。お休みっていう、ね、判断をしている中で、はーちゃまを利用して、誰かを攻撃したりする人がいるっていうことについては、もう我慢をしているだけでは何も変わんないんじゃないかなと思ったので、今回勇気を出して発言することにしました。ここでもう当たり前にみんなはね、分かってることだと思います。だけど、改めて誹謗中傷はやめてください。ミコは数年間耐えられましたね。でも、だからといって傷がないわけではないし、本当にここ2年ぐらいはあまりにもひどい名誉毀損の日々で。
Who could hate this little woman? I don't understand. I don't understand, man. To be fair, VTubers spend a lot of effort to make the character believable, generally save for some exceptions. The main issue is weirdos not being able to separate fantasy from reality. And I mean, yeah, Hololive are definitely the most traditional where they do play characters, but you still have that understandability that, like, even if this is a character, there's a person there. That's a real person, you know? Miko's elite for a reason. She knows what she does best, and she thinks highly about the people she works with. Been through tough times, both mentally, but especially physically. She always pulls through. You respect her highly. I fucking love her. I get really sad when I go to conventions and I try to look for Miko merch, because there's tons of, like, the Hololive English girls, and there's tons of, like, the like, I guess, more popular in the West girls, but finding stuff for Miko has always been really, really hard for me when I go to conventions. But I always try, whenever I go to a convention, I always try to look for Miko merch, and if I find it, I buy it, whatever it is. Miserable people, Kirsche, that's it. Yeah, the misery love company people, I hate that, dude. Like, I talk about a lot of, like, miserable things on the stream, but I want to make sure everybody here feels, like, not miserable by reading that kind of stuff, you know? Like, things might be bad, and maybe they'll get worse, but I want you guys to do well, and I want you to get better. And I feel like, even though a lot of the, like, VTubers I watch, they don't touch on politics, they do the, like, you know, get happy kind of thing, you know? And I like that. That's what I like about Miko. It's just big happy. Aunties are just sad, jealous people who have literally nothing better to do, complete losers, true and real. You personally appreciate the human aspect of it all, coming forward, showing your true thoughts and feelings about things, really helps some of those people remember that behind the avatar, there's just a person. It means a lot to speak on it. It does. It does. And, like, I mean, my voice cracked, but earlier, right before she said that, you know, she wanted to have the courage to come and speak out about this, I was like, yeah, she's fucking brave for doing so. Because there are a lot of people that get upset when someone sort of, I don't think she's, like, super breaking character, right? But she's still breaking character from the traditional sense. And people are going to get mad about that. A lot of them exude toxic positivity. They'll refuse to talk about certain things, but then do and get mad at people for not talking about it the way they want. I think that's more of a Western thing as well. At least not with, like, the Japanese VTubers I watch, but maybe that's because I don't watch too many. You know, for your part, you prefer streamers who are more genuine rather than playing a part. Yeah, but I mean, sometimes it can be fun. It can be fun to just fucking sit back and watch cute girl do cute thing, you know? If they stop slandering her, she'd stop breaking character. Seems pretty simple to me. Exactly.
ミコはですね、毎回応援してくれてるね、みんなとか支えてくれてる人と一緒に、前を向いて配信を届けてきました。それはね、他のタレントも同じで、本当にね、受け取り方はね、みんなそれぞれあって、うまくね、それを受け流している人もいるかもしれないし、大なり小なりね、みんながずっとね、こういう誹謗中傷っていうものは、タレント、ホロライブだけではなくて、VTuber とか、それ以外の活動者さんもね、常に、大なり小なり悩んで苦しんでいることなのかなと思います。
She is hitting nail on head, truly.
本当のことに対して何かをね、やらかしちゃったりとか、それに対しての怒りの言葉っていうのはとても理解できますし、それは重く受け止めるべきで反省をするべきものだなと思ってます。ですが、事実でないことと事実だとわからないことに対して誹謗中傷や直接的な誹謗中傷ではないとしても広めてしまうことにつながる投稿とかそういうものには慎重になっていただきたいです。
I mean, like, baseless rumors and misinformation is an unfortunate, such normalized part in especially VTubing, that like, what, there's that coined term like rat with the double R.
Okay. まあ自分にね、そんなつもりがなくても傷つけてしまう発言はきっとたくさんあります。また悪意で広める人、ファンになりすまして攻撃したりね。あとは自分の推しを
Oh, she mentioned it. The people who pretend to be fans in order to attack. She knows.
あげたくて、その別のタレントを攻撃するっていう人もたくさんいます。
Yes, that is something that happens pretty frequently as well. And I think like Pippa touched on that on Twitter recently. People wanting to like boost up their own Oshi and inadvertently end up like insulting another talent by doing that. And it's like, especially if your Oshi is like friends with that person or they're in the same company as that person, you trying to push up your Oshi by bringing someone else down, no matter how like inadvertent it might be, is going to cause problem. Like when you start like constantly saying bad things about someone's friend or coworker to the point where like they can't even talk about their friend without people in their chat saying gross things, it creates issues. And it doesn't create issues between those people because like everyone is smart enough to know like the fans are just doing dumb shit. It has nothing to do with like either of the talents, but it's still hurtful and it still makes people feel really fucking bad. I love your model is so much nicer than X's model. Yeah, I think the thing Pippa was talking about was like people were saying something about like the new talent being a replacement for like some other older talent, and it's like that's fucking weird. That's fucking weird to do. Like we make the like, oh, you know, dollar store Pecora or a dollar store Fubuki kind of joke stuff all the time, but like we're so far removed from those people that it's just like a funny haha to say something like that. But if you bring it back to reality and you bring it close to home and you start like comparing friends or coworkers in that way, it can get kind of weird.
その情報っていうのはね、本当なのかわからないことで人を傷つけること、そういうことがないようにお願いします。そして
very true sentiment.
しっかりね、ミコも今後もね、個人でも対応をしていきたいと思ってます。
Hearing her say something like, I'll make sure they are dealt with on warpath, stay home だよ。
ですが今後これをね伝えたところで悪意が終わることはないのかなと思う。それはもう仕方のないこと。
There'll be people who be like, how dare this bitch address the things that I've said? How dare she? Like actually just fucking insanity, dude.
仕方がないっていうなんだろうな、認めたくはないけど仕方のないことって今回はね仕方のないことでね終わらす気はないので発言したんですけど、それでもね人の悪意っていうのはねあると思います。そう。でもそれはこれからも変わらずみんなの応援の言葉とか応援の行動とか全てでね頑張っていきたいことだなと思ってます。本当に一番ねありがたいなと思ったりとか、何よりもね助けになるのは本当にファンのね言葉です。応援で好きだっていう思いとかそういうものです。本当にねいつもありがとうございます。ミコピンに関してはもう本当にミコが日々そういうものに受けてるっていうことも多く見てくれてる人は、気づいてる人も多くいたと思う中、すごくねずっと我慢してやってきてくれました。本当にありがとうございます。ミコは本当にそういう方々が誇らしいなと思ってます。で、たくさんね憶測がありますが、これははーちゃまに関してですけど、ミコはーちゃまに関して本当にね変わらずこれからもねずっとね大好きだし、作ってくれたね楽曲っていうのもあるんですけど、ミコの再生リストはね宝物ってここに入ってるんですけど、その宝物だし本当にはーちゃまに関してはもっと何かできたんじゃないかなってこうなる前にね思うと本当にやるせなくて苦しく、いや悔しくなりますね。何よりね一番
It can get really hard, and I'm sure she is like a million times busier than I am, considering how large she is, the kind of collab she does, the company that she's in, right? But with content creators, sometimes you can get super fucking busy, and the people that I am close to, despite how busy I am, even if we don't have a ton of time to like always talk and catch up, I always make sure it's like, hey, like I've seen you're going through some shit. If you need absolutely anything, you just ask me and I will drop what I'm doing to be able to help you. If you need anything at all, regardless of what it is, like I am still I consider you a very good friend, even if we don't have a ton of time for each other at the moment. And that's what friends are. They understand when you're busy, but they're still going to be there for you.
苦しい思いをしてるのかなと思いますので、はーちゃまを利用した
I can understand her
そういう
feeling
行為とか
bad and like
そういうもの
she
は
wishes
本
she
当
could have done
にや
more.
めてください。そして
So it's like it's just
本当にね
unfortunate
自分を
circumstance, you
第
know?
一にしてもらいたいなと心からね思います。話は戻りますが、ミクに関してはですね、ちょっとこういう配信も撮った中でございますが、本当に無理にね、信じてくださいとはあえて言いません。変わらずね、これからも同じスタンスで、そういうものにも負けずに、信じてもらえるファンをこれからももっともっと増やして、これからもね、自分らしく切り替えて、楽しい配信活動を頑張っていく予定なので、これからもどうぞよろしくお願いします。最後にね、本当にね、こういう配信を撮っておりますが、この活動はね、辛いことだけじゃないです。
Yeah.
もっとね、こういう場所を好きになれるように、好きでいられるように、どうかみんなのご協力をよろしくお願いします。以上です。やっぱりファンにね、してほしいのは誰かを攻撃したりとか、何かの敵を作ったりとか、そういうことではなくて、一緒にね、楽しい活動、楽しい応援をしてもらうことが一番嬉しいし、一番望んでいるので、よろしくお願いします。繰り返しではありますが、根拠のない誹謗中傷、今出ているこうなんじゃないか、ああなんじゃないかっていう虚偽の内容、そういうものに惑わされすぎずに、何が本当なのかっていうことをしっかりとね、まあ、難しいとは思うんですけど、気をつけて投稿をしていただけたらなと思います。
Always be the Russian chicken. Ask for
応援してく
proof.
れる皆さんと誹謗中傷をしている人でした。かだ。次の配信からはね、普通に配信をしますので、ぜひ楽しんでいただけたらなと。失礼します。おつみかーありがとう
That's very, very sweet sentiment. I'm glad that she was able to do something like this, because it's very rare that you see these kinds of things being addressed. In my opinion, I don't see too much of this from like, especially corpo VTubers.